you're going to start off in that process by losing money.
Yeah.
Like even if we take an example
Yeah.
of real estate, right? If
Yeah.
you're flipping houses,
Yeah.
you're going to start off by making losses, and
Yeah.
then you're going to learn, and then you're going to get better, and then
Yeah.
you're going to get better,
Yeah.
and then eventually you are going to get to a place where you maybe double your money, you triple your money, right? So what I feel, one of the things is that the unrealistic goals of unrealistic expectations,
right,
that gets people to a point where they don't even know where to start, right? And I feel if you have like small achievable goals,
right,
realistic,
100.
right? That, hey, this week, all I'm going to do is learn what real estate is. Next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to register my company. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Lalwani Lounge. Today, we have with us one of my friends that usually ends his sentences with, "It's actually rocket science." Jay. Hey, Jay. How's it going?
It's going well. How are you, AJ?
Pretty good. Pretty good. So tell me this. Does that line actually work?
In my experience, it's always worked.
So do you just go up to people, or I'm guessing this, you're using this probably to pick up chicks, right? And then at the end, you're like, well, honey, it's actually rocket science.
No. I usually say it to prove myself right in conversations, not just that.
So like any conversation, so you would start with like, the water is wet and it's actually rocket science.
No, very selected conversations, I'd say.
Like what type of conversations?
Usually either they're related to technical things or geopolitics or whatever the hell I'm invested in. And it's usually because I tend to do my research and whatnot before I try to like say something very effectively or, very in a way that it's believable. I don't want to become one of those people that just says anything without backing it up with anything,
Interesting.
That's credibility, right?
Yes.
That's important nowadays because you can only be wrong a few times, otherwise you lose credibility after. So that's probably why.
Nice. And I'm guessing you use that because you're actually an aerospace engineer.
Yes, and that's what I was gonna say. It's not rocket science. We say it's aerospace engineer because that's the degree you would get.
Okay. So how did you get into aerospace engineering?
Well, I think I would say that's a longer story, but since I was a kid, I've been into airplanes and stuff. My dad was an engineer. My mom was in the medical field. She was a pathologist. So it was either one of those two fields for me growing up, but I've always been more technically inclined. And back in Asia, when I was born, I was a part of the city's flying club and whatnot. So since then, I used to fly the RC planes, and we used to design them and have these little competitions and stuff like that. And I think since then I got into it, and basically I grew up and, moved here, went to university and whatnot. And I think I had that passion and I just basically pursued it to a point, and here we are now.
Nice. So when you say airplane, so you could have been a pilot, you could have been, I don't know, absolutely anything related to an airline. And I don't think you fly planes, right?
No, I currently don't fly.
Are you allowed to talk about it?
No, I'm allowed to talk about this. Okay. But I was actually trying to get my pilot's license. I finished my grant school with the FAA, and I was studying for that, and I passed that. Then we have to do flight school as well, where you have to do like a, certain amount of hours you have to produce on the airplane, and then you get the license. But COVID hit, and then I paused it for right now, and I haven't picked it back up yet. But you do not have to have an engineering degree or anything like that to become a pilot. So pilot school is completely different, to be fair. So commercial pilots or airline pilots, something like that, they're not engineers. They can be, of course, but they're not usually.
So, I mean, I'm an engineer. I could be a pilot too.
Yeah, but you're out here doing a podcast. So.
I'm doing a lot of shit.
That is true.
I don't think podcast is the only thing.
No,
but
you run your own company, so.
Yeah. But talk to me about, so you just went from, hey, I like to fly planes, or I like looking at planes, so let me just do something in aerospace?
Well, I think being the way I'd phrase it is, I think I'm an aerospace engineer because that was a little bit of my passion, but engineering and me being more technically inclined was the goal. So I wanted to be an engineer. And when you're studying and when you're in school and when you want to pick your majors and what you want to do, you see what mostly aligns with you, what you're going to be a little bit more passionate about. as compared to the other thing. And that's when I decided. So my first year had already gone by as a mechanical engineer, and then I switched to aerospace and went forward. And I think there is some certain classes that are involved that are more pointed towards that particular major that is headstrong, and that's where I went into, and involves a lot of research and whatnot, because I think whenever you're doing a technical degree, there's usually all the classes and the technical stuff that comes with it. But I think nowadays, the way the culture is and way the universities and all of that, I think to build credibility and experience and everything, you do have to spend a lot of time working in the labs and, conducting research and working with different universities and getting grants and whatnot. So I think a little bit of that, all of that was involved as well. And once you're way too into it, then you can build a career out of it. And if it is something that you can build a career out of, then here we are about that.
Nice. Did you go to did you do your aerospace engineering from here or somewhere else?
No, I did it from the States as well. I started my university life at Georgia Southern, and then I transferred to Georgia Tech, and between both universities I did aerospace engineering and information systems with SIP and some applied physics research. So nice. North Ave, Guggenheim building at Tech was where we spent a lot of our time.
Nice. So you're a tech graduate.
Yeah.
Nice. So once you graduated from your college, you were like, all right, let's pursue a career in aerospace engineering or anything of that sort. Yeah. I know you don't work for Gulfstream. Yeah. And this has been my question to you since the day I met you.
Yeah.
Why not Gulfstream?
Well, I did have an offer from them. I work in the defense sector currently, and why not Gulfstream or any other airline or anything? Because they do require aerospace engineers, don't get me wrong, but I do believe that, usually in every field, there is 99% of the population that graduates usually works in a field where something has already been built and they're sustaining that and whatnot. So they're not really reinventing the wheel, right? But the 1% usually works in the field where there are actually more technological advancements and they're actually trying to push the boundaries to get that entire industry to a next level is basically what I want to say. So whether you're a doctor, then 1% of doctors who are into research and building new techniques and whatnot, they'll be doing that. If you're a lawyer, you're researching into the point where you want to build new laws and pass new laws and sort of just enforcing them as a lawyer. And in engineering, that works the same way, but defense has an unlimited budget, and defense industries and their technology, I don't think anyone trumps that just yet. So that's why I went into that sector.
Okay, makes sense. You're more on the innovation side rather than right. let's build a carbon copy of the same plane over and over and over and over again out of an assembly line.
Yeah.
Okay.
Assembly line's very important because everything has to be onto the T,
Right, but you're part of where the design happens and where...
Yeah, we're part of a place where we influence design. About innovation, I wanted to say, I think everyone looks at it quite differently. And if you're particularly talking about my industry, innovation can occur in different ways as well. Even if in products, or I'm saying product, but even if a product, airplane, satellite, missile, whatever it is, even if it is once built, there's nothing to say you cannot innovate it to make it better, faster. I mean, that's how it works, right? You have improvement systems going on, and once you make improvements to that is how the next part of the technology comes into play. But I would say we are one of those industries where, and especially how the Defense Department works, right? There's almost no margin of error, right? There is no okay, I messed up, let me go fix it tomorrow. Oh, it's okay, someone will fix it. Oh, it's okay, it'll get It's not like that. You have to be absolutely very certain and thorough about it, because we would not just be the manufacturers or the designers or the implementers of technology. We're also the technical authority for the rest of the world on these kinds of products. And these are very impactful products that, help the growth of the human civilization. So you also cannot just take it very cavalierly. So I'd say.
Nice.
Yeah. Well, I did get you something just while we're on the subject. I remember us talking about this, and I feel like this is an F-22 airplane.
It's an F-22. So. Nice. So I'll just put it on.
Yeah.
And I'll have this as part of the episode. What do you think?
That looks pretty good. It's a lapel pin. Usually, I know you love wearing suits, and that's like the lapel for the suits. You can always wear it whenever you go out.
Is that the state of Georgia?
Yes, that is the state of Georgia.
That is an F-22 in the state of Georgia. There we go. I like it.
Yeah.
It does look good, though.
Yep.
Is it straight?
It is. Just go a little bit like that. Okay, there you go. That's good.
Cool. All right. So I was talking to one of my friends the other day about how we actually met, and it's been maybe like 6, 7, 8
I think
years.
7, 8 years probably. Yeah.
Wow.
I remember it was when I was in Atlanta, but it was like right after college. I'd been out for like a year or two, and then I met you. Yeah.
So I've actually seen you grow up.
Yeah, basically, like from the college kid to like a young professional. So however you want to say that.
Nice. And you actually started your own entrepreneurial journey as well, right?
Yeah, I did. So I do as an entrepreneur. I think I'm 31, and I'd say I've started 4 to 5 different endeavors. One's with real estate. One's with import export, one's with retail, and the current one I'm in negotiations with, it's going to be a skincare brand. So that's the couple of things that I've dived into that I'm working on.
So skincare brand, is it one of those pyramid schemes?
No, it's not. It's not one of those pyramid schemes. I'm gonna let it organically grow, and the reason I'm just not choosing to reveal the brand is that I'm currently in the middle of negotiations on acquiring the brand and whatnot.
Nice. So we won't see Instagram reels of you showing makeup products and.
No, I think
you know what I'm talking about.
I do. I don't think I'm pretty enough for that. Probably, I'd have to.
That's why the skincare products.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. We'll have to get some cute girls to do that.
No, I mean, you do have a beautiful head of hair.
Thank you.
You do look pretty good. I think you can pull it off.
Okay, I think I'd be too awkward, like doing the skincare brands. Be like, okay, now my skin looks. No, that's not gonna go. No one's gonna look at that video and be like, I'm gonna buy that product. No one can.
But you could be one of those Instagram influencers where you're like, beauty is not just for females. You as a male can also take care of your skin.
100%. Like I am all about equality, but I think the key word in there is influencer. Everyone on my Instagram I personally know, so there is no one literally just following me for the heck of following my thing.
Right, but
I don't think I've uploaded a picture in 6 months.
Wow, really?
Yeah.
Okay, well then never mind.
Yeah. I might need help from people like you,
I mean, well, so if you would have said your brand name right now, maybe people would have heard it. But since you cannot, I mean, I don't know. If you at a later point want to share that information, you share it with me, and I'll
100%.
I'll make sure I'll share it with
100%.
Right. But so that's one thing. Like you have your skincare, then you have your real estate. Did you get like a real estate license or?
No, I'm not a real estate broker or anything per se. I tend to do more either passive or active investments in either residential or commercial things, where some is either for a retail business that I can conjoin it with, or some is like to buy rental properties and give them up for rent or through property managers or something like that. And currently most of my most of my free time when I'm not working goes through all of that. And I have a relatively demanding job, so I am usually 8 to 6 on the work days, weekdays. I'm usually busy with that, so all the rest I have to do apart from that time. So
that's how it is, right? Like from 9 to 5 you're working for somebody else, and then from 5 to next morning 9 you're working for yourself.
Yeah, basically. Yeah,
right?
Yeah. I can't. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. I just wanted to say, I don't think I can gulp down the fact that, you know, every day we have to go work in the corporate world or whatever industry everyone's working in, and then you don't come home and work even a little bit for yourself. Yeah, you know, you dedicate 40 hours, 50 hours, whatever hours people work towards their job and everything, which is very good, and it's good to have a career and job and something that you get to be good at and whatnot. But I definitely want to encourage people and be one of those people that, you know, works for themselves as well a little bit.
Right, lead by example, huh?
Exactly.
Yeah. So one of the things that, you know, people like, I've had various conversations about this with people, and people don't understand that you don't have to start a business. You could follow a lot of passion stuff, right? You could also invest in yourself. You can learn certain things. Like investing in yourself is also doing something for yourself.
Yeah.
Right? It's also part of making your next day a better day than today.
Right. 100%. And yeah. Continue,
right. So it's one of those things where you have it's always me versus me, right? Like me yesterday versus me today.
Right.
And you know, there you would see this people talking about this all the time, that, hey, my competition is not you, my competition is just me.
Yeah.
Right. And the more we compare ourselves with others, the more there's like, you know, it's a bad rabbit hole to go in, right?
Yeah, 100%.
But at the same time, like, if you are investing in yourself, however it is, right? Even if you're doing gardening for an hour, right? That also has tons of benefits. Like, you don't have to be a business owner, is what I'm trying to get at.
Right.
And a lot of people don't understand that, and there's a lot of procrastination around the fear of failure, or a fear of, I don't know all the details, I don't know what to do, I don't know how to do it. So yeah, it's interesting, like, you know, coming across people that actually just took that first step. Like you know, or you don't know, you just took the first step, and then you kind of learn on the job, right?
Correct. Yeah.
Right. Even after school, do you think that there were differences between what you learned in school in your aerospace engineering versus what you're doing right now? There's like a huge, I'm guessing there's a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
And I'm guessing you learned it on the job.
Correct. Yeah.
Similarly, it makes a lot of sense to start something.
Yeah, and what I would also like to add to that, and that's all the points I 100% agree to. And I think people nowadays, at least when I come across people and I get a chance to talk to them or something, they always want to do something. They always, because right now we have the world, we live in a generation where we have the world at our fingertips, and they see everyone doing everything. And, you know, everyone is like, okay, I'd like to do something and whatnot. And everyone's willing to, you know, entertain that idea that, okay, I want to do something, I want to be somewhere, but they usually don't know where to start at, right? And sometimes, whether that's a monetary issue or whether there is a mindset issue or whatever, physical related issues or anything. But the point is, at some point, whenever you decide that your goal needs to be, right, it needs to come down from a backwards kind of thinking, where you decide what your goal is. What is your goal? You want to earn more money? Your goal is to have a family life, or a better family life, or your goal is to maybe have a better mental health, or you want to gain more, you know, physical attributes, or whatever it is, you know, and that's where you dedicate your time and energy towards, basically. So you'd come back and then you'd go like, okay, if this is the aspect, or this is the goal, what is something that I can do to get there? And that would basically start with, people always come up with all these excuses to not do anything or not start with anything and whatnot. And I think all I have to say to all of that is, I always feel like play your cards the best. You know, if we were playing cards, you'd want to win in the card game, so you would play the best hand you got, right? And someone can have a better hand, but you're still gonna play the best hand you got, and that's what it is, right? You have to put the best foot forward and at least start somewhere. You do the research, then you have your own critical thinking, and you'll have more questions about it once you get into it. And then I think that's like a good starting point for everyone to get at.
So one of the things that I think why people are too afraid to start is because they set an unrealistic goal right at the start. Right. So say, for example, you used money as an example, right? As trying to be rich. So they start off like, I want to make $1 billion, right? But you're going to start off in that process by losing money.
Yeah.
Like even if we take an example of real estate, right? If you're flipping houses, you're going to start off by making losses, and then you're going to learn, and then you're going to get better, and then you're going to get better, and then eventually you are going to get to a place where you maybe double your money, you triple your money, right? So what I feel, one of the things is that the unrealistic goals of unrealistic expectations, that gets people to a point where they don't even know where to start, right? And I feel if you have like small achievable goals, realistic, 100. Right? That, hey, this week, all I'm going to do is learn what real estate is. Next week, what I'm going to do is I'm going to register my company. This week, what I'm going to do is get a business license, right? So if you have these steps and that's your only goal for a shorter period of time, so reduce the time, right? And be like, okay, I have this task for this week. That's all I'm going to think about. That's all I'm going to focus on. Right? So it becomes easier because it's a small achievable goal. Similarly, you were playing cards right now, right? In poker game, you're not thinking about, I want to win the entire game. At that time, you're thinking about what's in my hand right now. What can I play with this right now for this specific game? Do I raise? Do I call? Do I fold?
Correct.
Right? And then for my next round, I will think about it in the next round. Because by that time, a lot of things change, right?
Correct.
The dealer changes, or like the deal order changes. Who goes open blind, who goes closed blind, that changes. The first three cards change. Everybody's pot looks different.
Right. I was about to say everyone has a different pot.
So now your competition that was once person A could now be person B. Because of how, the whole that whole previous round went. And then based on the learning, you figured out like, hey, I know person B's tell.
Right.
So maybe I can pull more money out of there. So on and so forth. Right. So it's just all about like the iterative process, which we in IT do all the time. Right. You have like a concept of MVP, which is minimum viable product. You release that. And then you wait, you see feedback, you test it, and then you create another iteration of the same product, then another iteration, then another iteration. And, you grow in a circular fashion.
Yeah, it's more organic, and that's exactly correct, and you have to go into something enough to know what the next step can be. And like you said, there is variables, changing variables, uncontrollable variables all the time. And you can't control all of those, but there are some that you can control, right? And if you do that, I think you can at least point yourself in the right direction, because even if you don't think it's the best standard, you don't think you're going to win that particular game, you at least know you don't want to lose big. But even for that, you need a little bit of critical thinking, and you need to know at least how to play your hands best to make sure you're not losing and someone else is losing, right? And if we're trying to connect this perspective to like a business sense or business perspective, we live in a world and an economy where we have this much inflation, and we have this much economic crisis going on, and I don't think our generation can afford to sit still and not do anything else, because I don't think our generation is going to get a social security or anything like that to just fall back on. Not that I want to get into it right now. I just mean like everyone should be looking forward to doing that. And that's and you did it the same way, right? You've started your own company years before anyone else did. So tell me a little bit about that. I mean, I know all the off-base topics, and I know how hard you work and whatnot because I've been friends with you forever. But tell me a little bit about your company.
What do you want to know?
Well, how you started that? Red Voice Entertainment, is it?
There was no Red Voice Entertainment. It's Red Voice Technology.
Red Voice Technology. Sorry. I just remember you, and I met you, and I just remembered I have my own company. That's all you said back in the day.
Right. And, so the name Red Voice is actually my last name translated in English. So Lalwani translated in English is Red Voice.
Never put it together.
Okay. So,
I never put it together. That's actually pretty cool.
Yeah. So that's how it is. Like it's my family name.
Yeah.
So I started this business back when it was like everybody was doing was employed. I was employed too. I've always wanted to be the CEO of the company. I've always wanted to call the shots. And since a very young age, when I started working, I have been somebody that had this acumen for business, right? I used to play a lot of chess with my dad growing up. it just allowed me, I wouldn't call myself the best chess player, or even, moderately good. But it gave me an understanding of how I wanted to live my life. Is I would think 2-3 steps ahead before making every single move. And at the same time, see what the reactions could be to those moves, right? And if there are ways where somebody else can take advantage of the moves that I'm making. Right. So, chess kind of helped me in that strategy aspect of it. So it would help me understand products better. So I used to work for product-based companies, design apps and software for product-based companies. And it kind of helped me understand, like, hey, these are the new features that are being added to this. What are the possible implications? What could it break? What could work? What could not work? And I would be somebody that would always talk during discovery meetings and, all of that. Like, hey, this is a problem. This is a potential problem I see. This is a potential point of failure I see.
Yeah, that's critical thinking. That's critical thinking, and that's growth of critical thinking. You thinking about the thought and more of the same thought to get into it, to perceive more future problems that you can come to solving. That's you're growing your own critical thinking in a sense, right?
Right. So this was me at a very young age, and I became a team lead pretty early in my life. And what that allowed me to do is also work on my people skills. Right. So it was a journey. Like the people skills, like I was very good with computers, not so good with people. So that's another skill that I had to develop if I wanted to kind of, be in that decision-making position. Right. So worked on that and got to a point where I was like, all right, now I'm in a stage where I can actually demand for a lead position at different companies. So did that, worked various positions, led various positions, and then got to the VP position in my previous company, and then it got to a point where I was like, that's the ceiling for me now. I cannot become CEO in my current company because the owner of the company did not want anybody else as the CEO. And I was like, I want to be CEO. And I wanted to do it before I turned 30.
Congratulations on achieving that dream.
So I started my company, and I wanted the company to be very tech forward. So I eliminated the use of paper. So everything went digital. And once everything went digital, and all my teams actually talk to each other digitally. Right. So like you could fill a form, like if you're on the marketing side, right? You could fill a form at the customer's end. The tech team or the product owner would already get that information. Like, hey, this is the feedback that we got from this client. And then you could, from the click of a button, it would turn into task and be assigned to the dev team. Like there was so much automation. This is 2018. That's what I'm talking about, right? And it got to a point where I didn't need a physical office. So my entire team has been completely remote since 2018. So that's 2 years before COVID forced a lot of companies to go remote. My company was remote way before that because I wanted that for my team, because one of the things that I also wanted to do when I started my business was spend more time with friends and family. Right. The community that I was part of, and I wanted to build a more meaningful life. And that's how like all of these kind of tied in together for me to start the business. And I was like, I want to just start it. In the day I decided I wanted to start it, that's the day I registered my company.
That's amazing.
I was like, I have to take the step. And I'm not going to procrastinate. And I'm somebody that loves discipline. So
I've seen that in your life, just knowing you all these years, but there's not too many people who can say they're achieved their dreams, That's a very inspirational story, actually.
Thank you. But we're here to talk about you. Enough about me.
All right. What's next on the docket?
So tell me about this. How did you decide that, okay, I'm no longer interested in, or actually that I want to do something for myself outside of work, and it's not just a hobby or just a random gig or project or something like that, but it's more serious. Like, how'd you get serious?
Interesting question. I doubt I've actually given that a lot of thought, but I think it comes from my grandfather. He was a big businessman, actually. He was huge back in Asia during his time, and he was even an advisor to the British and whatnot. So it's stemming from that. My dad's not into business anymore, or he wasn't doing that. But I think it's a little bit of that, because me and my grandfather used to have all these talks back in the day. He's not alive anymore, but when I was younger too, I was pretty young back then. But I think some of those things stuck with me, and the more I grew up and more I saw the real world, more I understood how things worked and whatnot. And wouldn't you want to be higher up on the food chain than lower up? Basically, I think it's in Darwin's world kind of thing. You have to keep evolving, kind of situation. And not to say I enjoy my career. I love my career. I've studied too much for my career to just give it up and not do it. So I still want to stick with it. And the old rock climbing principle, you got to have your 3 grips good before you open one of your limbs to go for the 4th grip, right? So you want to have some sustainable foundation that you have ready before you do anything else on the side, or you're hustling for anything on the side, just so you can make sure that your basic necessities and everything are taken care of, because then you allow your mind that space to grow. Otherwise you wouldn't. But I think all of that, including like a bunch of inspirational stuff, I think has helped me grow a lot.
Yeah, can I say I'm very proud of you?
Why?
Because I have seen your growth from the day I met you. This
right
college kid that came out that would just flip hair.
Flip hair, that was the thing.
Right. So yeah, I'm definitely proud of where you are today.
Thank you.
If at any point you ever need anything,
I know you'll be there. I don't even have to think or ask. I know you will. I don't ever have to blink twice for that. Another thing just came to my mind. You asked like where it came from. I think one of the reasons where it came from is also I've been a lot into traveling. I think over the years, I think I have been privileged enough in my life to just experience traveling and to travel for whatever reasons. I don't travel for work, but as of like 2022, I think I've traveled to 103 countries. So I think, and I try to immerse myself into like the cultural aspect of the country and the people and everything. And even at my university, I was actually the global ambassador for the universities on the Southeast. So I did that for both of my universities and some other universities on the Southeastern coast. And it helped me like get to know a lot of people and actually in not just a conversational sense, or not just at meeting at a bar or a club or just for dinner or something. It was like more in an intimate sense where I was actually helping them adjust to life in the States, or they were international students coming into universities from like 180 different countries, right? And there were some people who were tasked with making sure you were the liaison, and you help them out with everything from paperwork to their time in America, yeah, right? So I think that helped me gain a lot of perspective as well, because I think if you are a relatively intellectual person and you like to self-reflect, I think the fact that when you meet these many people from these many countries, that means that gives you these many different ideas and different ways to go about things. You gain so many different perspectives. So then if you learn enough and you're self-reflective enough, you can always try to apply them and like grow from there, basically, right? Not everything applies to everyone, of course, right? Not every block fits everywhere, but you can at least grow from it and learn from it. That's a good starting point for that. So I think that has also helped me do that. Networking is definitely a thing as well. And that helped me in my travels as well. Whenever I used to, back in the day when I used to travel, it wasn't like all hotels and yachts or anything like that. I used to just call up my friends and I'd be like, all right, I'm coming over, that's it. And that's helped me a lot too.
Okay, now I see. When you mentioned travel, I see where all of this self-growth comes from. It's exposing yourself to so many people, right?
Correct.
And so many different cultures, and understanding how certain cultures do certain things, and how you've been doing things, and maybe there's meaning of what you do in some other culture that does it
Right,
differently.
right, exactly.
Right? So yeah, okay, I see it. I see it.
People, I think people travel like a lot of people travel nowadays, but I think it's the air of curiosity that actually is a good the spark that starts it. I feel like, because you can still travel, go on vacations, or even like if you were a remote worker, you could go live somewhere else and be there. But if you're not curious enough to get into the culture, or to get into something, or to have a deep relationship with someone, or friends, family, whatever, to actually get into those difficult conversations that are more than just shallow and surface level conversations, you won't really know the aspect behind it. And then that's where you would want the growth to start from, right?
Right. This is why the podcast.
Yeah, that is true. That is true.
But what I was gonna say is that one of the things that we usually say is vacation, right?
Yeah.
And the way I see it is, I'm not a tourist in any city. I'm a traveler.
Yeah.
Right.
Exactly.
So my goal is not, I don't want to see the tallest building. I don't want to see, absolutely anything that's touristy.
Yeah.
But I want to sit down in a local market and talk to a fruit vendor, or or go
Right.
sit in a coffee shop and talk to, some random stranger that's also traveling, maybe.
Yeah.
Or somebody who's local that, is open to having these conversations.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
So there was a time when, like when I originally started traveling, I just wanted to see beautiful beaches. I wanted to see beautiful buildings, and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
But over the years, I think I'm also somebody that enjoys the deep conversations, and I focus more on spending time in having those conversations rather than...
I know that from experience, because we've had it for like 7-8 years, so I feel like
right. And I don't think I think we might have started off with shallow conversations, but now everything we talk about has
those, I think, before we were friends, we were just meeting and whatnot, but after we became friends, I don't think we've ever had to plan. We always end up with these deep rabbit holes about everything. I think we've covered everything from business to girls, relationships, life, parents, everything,
And sometimes it's good when you're talking about your experiences with somebody else, even if they do not have the same experiences, or are just bouncing boards, right? Yeah. I think talking about just the stuff that you're going through with somebody also helps you understand more about yourself. And more about that situation itself in multiple situations, right?
Right.
So I'm glad that you and I share a passion for traveling, and then we also have these conversations, like the deep conversations. It always helps. So that's why I was like, I'll bring you on. This will be like a good episode.
Yeah, that's good. So I wanted to ask you about this episode and podcast, this entire situation. So first of all, thank you for inviting me. I don't know if I ever said that, but I wanted to know what your goal was by doing this. Is this a podcast to raise business awareness, or is this a podcast to learn more about your life growth or like mental mindset? I don't think we got a chance to know about that, and I wanted to know what your goals were behind starting this entire thing.
So here's how it is, right? So the way, let me just circle back to where we actually started this episode, basically. Is talking about goals, right? So I don't really have like a big goal in mind when it comes to this podcast, right? Okay. The idea is that I just wanted to start it because I wanted to start it, right? Okay. I just felt like, hey, this might be a good time where I think I'm in a position where I want to continue having more deep conversations, and a lot of times, like, when you meet people in social settings, there's not enough time, or it never really goes that deep. I would say most of my friends that I talk to, I don't even know them on a deeper level.
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Right? Unless you sit with somebody on a one-on-one basis.
Right.
And all of these ideas came together where I thought maybe if I just have somebody one-on-one, I can have better conversations. So it all started with me trying to have one-on-one conversations with people, and then that turned into, hey, let's just put cameras in the room, let's just put a microphone in the room, maybe somebody can benefit from it. Maybe somebody will just hate it.
Yeah,
I don't
of
know.
course.
I don't know.
Yeah.
And I'm doing this for me rather than for anybody else, right?
Right.
That's why like I don't have a script. I don't have something that we pre-decide like this is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah.
It's just, hey, this is where the conversation leads us. This is what we're going to talk about.
Right.
And I think you can see in this episode,
exactly.
we went from your aerospace engineering to real estate to skincare products to traveling. So the idea is just basically have one-on-one conversations with people. Yeah. Right. And there's so many people that I know that are lifelong learners. They're are thinking a different frequency. Mm-hmm. So it also helps me grow. Right. And maybe something I say will help them grow. Yeah. And maybe our conversation might help somebody else grow. Yeah. Right. So it could. It's just like a whole experience, and you get to come sit here with your feet up and have a chill time. Have a chill time with your best friend.
That is true. That is right? True. That is true on both counts. Yeah.
Right. Is the couch comfortable?
Yes. You okay? Thank you. Yes, I would have said something otherwise.
Are there enough pillows for you?
Yes, they are actually. Okay. Thank you. I'm very comfortable.
All right. So yeah, that's the idea behind it. And I did want I know you've been traveling, you've been busy, doing your own stuff, and you had a lot of personal commitments, right? And we did not really get a chance to actually talk in a very long time, especially this whole year, right? Considering everything. Yeah. So I was like, this would be a good opportunity for you and have a good conversation.
All right. This is good. Hopefully, is someone else going to benefit from this conversation as well?
I don't know.
Like a personal growth history, for both of us.
I think somebody will at some point. Even if not, I think you and I will grow out of
100%. 100%. Yeah.
So coming back to the travel, right? Yeah. Or did you have any other questions?
No. Go on.
So what's your favorite place to travel?
I get that question a lot actually, and I want to say you want to be a little bit more specific, as in what's your favorite place for natural beauty? Like then I would pick like Switzerland or Austria or something like that. Okay. You say what's your favorite place for like nightlife? Then I'd pick like Barcelona or Copenhagen, something like that. So I want it to be more specific.
Okay, so you wake up on a Saturday morning.
Okay.
All right, the sun's shining, birds are chirping, and you're not hitting the snooze button, right? You wake up fresh, right? Your hair looks beautiful, right? You look at yourself in the mirror, you're like, damn, right. I am very happy where I am in life right now. Okay. All right? That's your morning.
Okay.
You're like, I have enough money for absolutely all my needs. I have good friends. I have maybe a good family, but I feel like I want to be in a different part of the world right now. Maybe this is what I want to experience right now. What would you want to experience at that time, and where?
I do love traveling. And I do love experiencing new things and stuff. But when you ask me that question, the first thing that comes to my mind is that I would like to be working. I would like to be running my company and my empire the way I see fit, because I don't want to take a vacation from life like that. I want to go on holidays because I want to go and I want to see and travel and experience different things that are different than my daily life. But I don't approve of the concept where I have to want a vacation from my own life, like I don't want that. So when I am feeling that good, I want to feel that good, and I want to be like that every day. And I'm not saying that happens every day. I'm saying that I would like to be to a point where that happens every day, and then I go and kill it that day. And I think that requires one of the best things that you have, which is discipline, I say, because I learn a lot of that from you as well. And I think it's when you're working super hard to know that, that you're doing the best that you can. You're working on your mindset. You're working on your body. You're working on your mental health. You're working on your family time. You have good social life, work-life balance. And I think when you have all of that together, I think you don't have any worries anymore. And then you're like completely at peace about it, because if you're zen inside and you have all the outside worldly stuff, which, let's face it, we can't be, not everyone in the world, if everyone in the world goes to the Himalayas and becomes a monk, the world is not going to function. If everyone goes to war, the world is not going to function. And, if everyone stops working and starts their own business, that's also not going to work, right? So we still need all of that. So, but once you have all of your ducks in a row, I think you can enjoy the peaceful time, because I think the first formative years of your life, right? The first 25 years of your life, I think you spend becoming who you are and finding out who you are and what you like and what you don't like. And I think the next 10, 15 years, 20 years of your life is where you grind to achieve, to build whatever you want to build in this world, and find out like where you want to be in the rest half of your life, right? And the way you put your ducks in a row in these 20 years, right, 25 to 45, is basically how the rest of your 40 years will go, I'd say, right? And I want to say like the average death age is 86 or
77.
Is it 77? Holy shit. Okay. Well,
I actually spoke to another friend on a different episode.
Okay, it is
77.
that. So yeah, but I just mean to say that you would like to have your ducks in a row, just so you could have more control over how you want to live, like the whatever 35 years left or 40, whatever that is. And I think that's what I'd like to say.
Okay, so let me rephrase the question there. I think you were thinking about vacation. I was not thinking about vacation, because vacation is when you're trying to escape life.
Correct.
Right?
Yeah, that's what
and you started off with beautiful hair and, bright sun.
Right.
So you're actually loving life. So you don't need to escape that. So
correct.
Let me rephrase the question then.
Right.
Where would you like to spend your retirement?
Okay. That's a different question. I got you.
Like when you have no worries in your mind.
I know. See, you would think I'd say like a beach town or a coastal town, but I feel like I would want to be in a city. I see myself in a big city, but I want to be close to my friends and family, because, I feel like I'm very attached like that, and I've built, good relationships over time with, my friends and family, and I've lived alone and apart from family for a long time as well. So we were all in different hemispheres and whatnot, but I would like to be where I can at least go and hang out with my friends or family during the week. But I think that's where I want to say.
So what you're saying is you would like to retire in Atlanta?
No.
Well, see, some of your closest friends, including me.
That is true.
Right here.
That is true.
Right? Your family is here.
Yeah.
And almost everything that you've built is here.
Right. So, yeah.
So what you're saying
is... Oh my God, do I want to retire in Atlanta? Now I have existential crisis about it. I cannot retire in Atlanta. No.
In Georgia, we do have a beach-looking thing.
Something that qualifies as a...
I mean, there's sand. I know they have barricaded that you cannot go into the water anymore from the beach side.
I think it doesn't instigate a beautiful beach when I picture that in my head, but like a wallpaper or something.
But it's that lake that we made by drowning an entire city.
Are you talking about the lake where they found a severed head recently?
Yeah,
it was literally like 2 days ago or something, isn't it?
I mean, it's built on top of a city, and there's so many accidents there. There are too many drunk idiots.
That is true. That is very true.
So I don't think it's the lake's fault.
Yeah, of course not.
Yes, but yes, we do find stuff like that there. It's like, going from medieval times to 21st century, all in that one lake.
That's true. Wow.
So imagine the natural history
under
Lake Lanier.
No matter how enticing you make it seem, I will not want to agree with that.
But if you think about where you said you want to end your life at, you described Atlanta. It's a city, friends and family.
With friends and family.
Not a beach town. I'm sorry, but anyways.
Yeah. Don't worry about it. No. I'm following. I'm just trying to think where I want to. It's very hard for me to just pick one place. I think that's an issue. And now that I keep thinking, I'm like, how can I not answer this question? Like, where do I want to retire? I think that's a great question, because it's made me think a lot, because I think I keep thinking so much about what I have to do and what I need to do. I haven't really given it a thought that when everything does go right, what do I do after? I haven't really given that a thought. So I need to think about that.
Yeah. So,
okay, let me ask you this the same question. Where do you see yourself retiring like that?
Okay. So based on everywhere that I've traveled, it would either be Ghent, Belgium, or because of the canals and the way that it's just a very beautiful city, and it's a walkable city. It has like a good balance. The people are very nice. And it was just an amazing vibe, right? So that's one. Or since I don't like a lot of cold and I like my tropics, it would be somewhere in the Caribbean. I do see myself next to crystal clear blue waters.
Wow. Okay. See, that's specific. Okay, that's good.
Yes. So for me, like, the Caribbean matters is because of the type of water.
Okay.
Right. So
that's
the emerald sapphire water is something that I would see myself being happy around. So if you ever ask me like, hey, I have 4 days off, let's go on a trip, my first recommendation is going to be a beach town.
All right.
In the Caribbean.
That's amazing. That is a very solid amount of clarity that you have on that, actually, and I wish I had that, actually.
Yeah, my clarity is just like the water.
Yeah, exactly. Crystal clear.
So this year I decided that I'm gonna cover all the Caribbean islands in alphabetical order.
Okay.
So like, Aruba A, Bahamas B, Cayman C, Dominican D.
I was actually just about to ask you. I was saying we should plan a trip to the Cayman Islands. I actually haven't been here.
Let's do it.
Okay,
You're free
let's do it.
2 weeks from now?
Well, that's a little bit too much.
I actually have Cayman Islands on my calendar for 2 weeks from now.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I need a little bit more time than that, but I would like to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. Call me.
Okay.
And we can set something up. If Cayman Islands is what you want to do, I'm ready.
Okay.
It's already the next island that I'm going to.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's good.
And then
you've already been to Aruba.
Yeah, I've been to Aruba.
Bahamas.
So then you have Dominican.
Okay, yeah.
As the deep, and then for E, I'm going to Exuma, Bahamas.
Okay.
Just want to swim with the pigs.
Wow.
Right. And then so on and so forth.
Right.
So let's see. Yeah, that's the plan for this year. Cover all Caribbean islands.
I think in my travels, I think most of the places that I haven't covered are in South America and Africa. And the Middle East, I guess. Because I think I've covered most of Asia, North America, Europe, Eastern Europe. One place in Africa. Not too much South America, Central America. So
okay.
I'd like to get that on the list as well.
So one of the places that I want to go in Africa, actually two. One of them is South Africa because I like Amapiano music. And second is Tanzania because I want to eat breakfast with the giraffes.
That's amazing.
I know. I don't know if you've seen that. There's a hotel there where you can.
They come up. Yeah. I have.
Yeah, they come through the window and you can have breakfast with the giraffes, and that's what I want to do.
My parents, I think, went on an African safari and they sent me pictures like that. And you kind of, I think it's not really camping; it's glamping more like it. And I think they take you on those lion safaris and zebra safaris and all that. And some of the big animals like giraffe and elephant and stuff, they come to your basically camp and whatnot, and you're eating on the table that's outside, like in a yard or something like that, or like a field, and these animals are just all around, and that's beautiful actually.
Yeah.
That is definitely a bucket list item, I'd say.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
So we spoke about the best. Now let's talk about the worst. In your experience, what's the worst place that you've ever traveled to, or a place that you will never travel to again?
Once again, I think I'm at a miss because I don't think I can pick it, because for the same reason that I couldn't pick the best, because I think I tend to take things as they are and experience them in their setting. So I don't think I can pick a worst place. I mean, bad things happen everywhere, bad experiences happen everywhere, but so do the good ones. So I think I'm at a loss there. I don't think I can pick a best one or the worst one.
Great answer. Congratulations. You're this year's Miss India.
Oh, thank you very much. I'll take that, actually.
That's such a beauty pageant answer.
I mean, I didn't mean it to be a very diplomatic answer. I really, truly do genuinely feel like that. And actually, funnily enough, I get that answer. I get that question a lot. Not the worst one, the best one. People ask that question a lot. And I really cannot just say that. And that's why I try to tell them that, hey, like, ask me, like, where did you enjoy the best food? And I'll be like, okay, Asia was the best food. And like, what's the best party scene? What's the best this and that? Right. But like...
But I'm not gonna ask you questions that you asked me to ask.
I know exactly. I know, but you made me think, so I love that, actually.
Right. Yeah. So because I want to know all the unscripted answers.
Correct.
Because if people are asking you the same question over and over again, you already have an answer for it.
That's true.
Not interested. I'm gonna hear that anyways. I want to ask you questions that you've never thought about.
I have a question for you.
Okay.
What is something? So I know you for 8 years, so I know like your journey a little bit and how you moved here and all the business, the stuff you started, and currently where you are at in life, right? So I want to know, what is something that you used to do back in the day that you really miss doing, that with your current life that you're like not able to do?
Ooh, oh, so you're gonna do that to me now?
I had to.
So something that I used to do a lot, and I don't do it anymore.
Yeah.
I think back in the day, I did enjoy playing a lot of sports.
Okay.
That's one thing that I really miss. Sometimes it's usually like maybe I cannot make it to all the leagues that are right. here, and then they're like the things that I can make it to are too competitive because they're playing for a trophy or something, and it's not like pickup games, right?
Yeah.
Where you do it just for enjoying and spending time with your friends and family.
Yeah.
Right. So that is something that I miss. I also miss waking up and not having to worry about anything. So if I don't know if you know this, so my shower is usually 30-minute long, and most of it does not involve me scrubbing my body. It's me standing under the shower thinking about my to-do list for today. A lot of times, so your brain is usually in theta state when you're under the shower, right?
Yeah.
And it's when you have much more access to your brain because of whatever reason, right? You're not too distracted, whatever, right? And there's like these small droplets of water falling on you. You're in a very good mental state under the shower. So a lot of times, like even if I'm mad at somebody, I will have that conversation under the shower before I actually have it with them, so that I tone it down 10 notches at least. Or sometimes I don't even have that conversations because I feel maybe, it's not worth that conversation.
Yeah.
Or maybe I'm not going to get anything out of it, right? So, there was this stoic way of you ask 3 questions before you ever talk ever talk negative or anything about somebody. Does it affect me directly? Is it true? Me saying this, is that going to benefit anybody?
Yeah.
Right. So all of these 3 things, like I go over them in the conversation part of it. So it's just one of those things, and I spend a lot of time in the shower with my to-do list, like, hey, this is my goal for today.
Yeah.
So I go over like this big chart of 25 million things that I have to do.
Yeah.
And then sort them out priority wise.
Right.
And then pick like, okay, so today's a Monday.
Yeah.
I gotta do my squats. I gotta, work on this, work on that, and go through that list and make sure I achieve it before the end of the day. Next morning, the first 2 minutes, I take my own status call.
Yeah.
And see if I completed whatever I needed to complete. So I want to wake up and not have to worry about what I am doing today and just go by my gut feeling.
Yeah.
I don't think that I could do that anymore because of the businesses I started, the projects I started, and then I have so many people that are dependent on me being my absolute best. So in that way, it just forces me to not be lenient at all. Even on a Sunday, I could get a call like, hey, the market's acting crazy. This week, XYZ is about to happen. The Fed's about to announce another interest rate hike. And then we already know that's going to push companies to not invest money in future ventures because now getting loans becomes expensive.
Correct.
So now there's going to be budget cuts, and because of budget cuts, there are going to be layoffs. So we already start working on preparing for that to happen. So all of this kind of requires me, like, I went from 9 to 5 to a 24 to 7.
Like, I always say that too. Yeah.
Right?
That is true.
So, yeah, I gave up my 9 to 5 for this. For 24 by 7. But to answer your question, yeah, I think that, and I also would love to spend more time with friends and family.
Yeah.
I think I have spent way too much time in building a life that will allow me to do it. But I just need to find, like, it's the whole, like, finding the right kind of people, finding the right kind of time with that people, and finding them in the right time as well. So, like, it should be a right time for them as well. Because for a lot of people, they have other responsibilities, everything else going on in their life.
Yeah.
So it just, like, timings need to match. That also is a big thing. Because back in the day, timings didn't matter when you were younger. Because everybody was growing. Everybody was fucking up, right?
Yeah.
But then the older you grow, the bigger boundaries you set, the different conversations you want to have, the different experiences you want to have, and not everybody is on the same growth journey.
Right.
And I would like to surround myself with people that are constantly encouraging each other, helping each other, building each other up, rather than, stepping on each other's toes or anything of that sort. Like, I don't like to, talk about anybody behind their back or anything. And I miss that. Like, not being part of conversations that involve a third party that's not present in the room, especially if it is negative. Yeah. Like, I'm all about talking positive about somebody behind the back. Right. That's when you know your friends got you, right?
Yeah.
When they talk positive behind your back.
Yeah.
But for me, having those conversations is something that I miss a lot.
That is very apt, I feel like that makes you who you are. I think it's your personal process of, like, doing things the way you do it. And in all these years, we haven't talked about showers, but I actually do the same thing under the shower. My showers are long, but I usually just think in showers, and I think I've had enough shower epiphanies in my life to, like, call that out.
But funny thing is, a lot of people do it.
Yeah.
Intentionally or unintentionally.
Yeah.
I'm just aware that that's what I do.
Right.
But most people do it all the time because your brain switches to theta state, and you're constantly like, okay, now I'm in touch with my subconscious as well. So boom, 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 boom. This is what I need to do.
That's nice. And I like the 3 things, the stoicism thing, right? Like, I read a lot of books, and I go through a lot of books a year, and I recently finished one about stoicism. I think it was called Beyond Good and Evil. I think it had the 3 questions you were talking about, and the 3 questions, they go like, is it the first question is like, is it true? If you're going to talk about something or so, one is it true? And the second is it positively benefiting anyone, or is it worth doing it and saying it and whatnot? The third one, is it good or bad? If it's bad, you don't say it. If it's good, I think these are the 3 questions you're talking about. I think it's a good little thumbprint or a rule of thumb to follow kind of thing for, like, little conversations here.
Right. And I feel like in today's world, if most people did that, it would be better.
Yeah.
But some people choose not to do it.
Right.
At the same time, some people frown upon people that do it. It's like, hey, why are you not talking to me? Why are you not saying this? Why are you not, like
adulting things?
Right. Right? And this usually happens in intimate relationships.
Yeah,
like,
course.
Hey, I need you to be more expressive. I need you to XYZ.
Yeah.
And then when you think about, like, hey, this is something I heard, I don't know if it's true or no.
Yeah.
There's no point bringing up something that you don't even know if it's verified information.
Yeah, I
right?
mean,
or if it's positively benefiting somebody. If it's not, there's no point in going in that direction.
Right, like, it needs to come from a credible source or something to actually, for you to take an action about it, right? Otherwise, it's just normal random shit you hear all the time, and you can't be, you can't just emote at every single thing you hear, or you can't just take action against every single thing you hear, right? You have to like have some amount of emotional regulation and self-regulation about that. Right. So I agree. And I have another question for you now that we're since we've talked about we've talked about a lot of topics. I mean, this is a very widespread, honestly. We talked about the book, so it reminded me. So I think 2 months ago or something, earlier this year, I finished a book called Ikigai, right?
Okay.
And this book I had read when I was, I want to say, my freshman year of college. Now, let me tell you, me reading that book now and me reading the same book right now again, back then and right now, it's a huge difference on the way I understand it as well, you know? And so let me tell you a little bit about this. Well, this concept of Ikigai, it exists. It's like a very thousand-year-old Japanese concept, thousands of year old Japanese concept. And so this is like a 1,000-year-old Japanese concept, even more than that, probably thousands of years. And what this concept is asking is, what is your Ikigai? As in, what it means is, what is your purpose in life? So, and it's basically asking people to self-regulate, to form something, to form a reason to get out of bed, or what's like your end goal or eventual purpose. So it connects the dots between what you're passionate about and what you're good at and what brings you money or whatever. It's like a subset of all of these things that is your Ikigai, which is your purpose of life, you know? So I want to ask you if you've ever done enough self-reflection or along those lines to figure out what your entire purpose of life is.
The way I see it, so you probably hear this all the time, like it's alone on the top, and right. You know, yeah. Not many people can fit at the top of the pyramid, or all of that, right? I want to change the narrative. I want to take people up there with me. Like, I want to be on the top of the pyramid, and I want to take people with me. I don't know what ingenuity it would require to put like a flatland on top of a pyramid, but the idea is like, I want to grow constantly. Yeah. Right. People say sky is the limit. I don't consider sky as a limit. Your limit is what you decide your limit is, right? Yeah. There is no glass ceiling, because ceiling is also your limit. Yeah. Right. So I don't think there is a limit to growth. Mm-hmm. If you do it with the right intentions, because I think intentions also matter. Like a lot of people would run behind money. Yeah. And like in business, I see this all the time where I have clients, or actually vendors, like the mid-tier vendors, that would make certain decisions just for money. Right. Yeah. And then you skim off the top and all of that. Right. Yeah. Instead, what the purpose of me starting my company was also the same thing, that I did not want to skim off the top. I didn't want to provide a service or a product that I would not use in my own house. Yeah. Right? So I strove for excellence rather than money.
Yeah. And that is like how you've based your goals and values of your company to go against, right?
Right. So my focus is always excellence. Correct. Yeah. I will make less money. Yeah. But I will provide excellence, and then people will recognize excellence and they will follow that. Like, I want to also lead by example. Right. So I provide the excellence, and because I provide the excellence, everybody in my team sees that I provide the excellence. Yeah. And then they also want to do it. Yeah. And they sometimes they catch me not doing it as well. So this kind of brings that mentality in them as well, that I've told them it's okay for you to tell me I am wrong. Yeah. Or tell me if there is a better idea. Yeah. So we can have this as a discussion. Yeah. Instead of me telling you what to do. Yeah. You and I can, like, even the most junior person on the team has a voice. Yeah, of course. We may not always listen to that voice. Yeah. But they have a voice. Yeah. And they come to the table and voice provide a different perspective. Yeah. Right? That's how we grow. We hear different perspectives and we grow. So yes, I think my Ikigai is getting to the top and bringing people along with me. Okay. There's enough money to go around. There's enough success to go around. Yeah. we don't need to fight each other for it.
I
need
agree.
to help each other for it.
Okay, I agree, and I like that, and
I also feel like I grew up in a very, very humble household.
Yeah.
And not everybody gets access to a lot of resources.
Yeah.
Because not everybody gets dealt the right cards, right?
Right.
I also want to help the underprivileged, especially young kids, and especially with education.
Yeah.
I think we can change a lot of things if people are educated.
Yeah.
Not just the bookish knowledge,
right,
but stuff like taxes and changing a tire and changing oils and
right.
whatever, right? Home DIY stuff. Like the pegboard behind you is literally me.
Yeah.
Right. So
I got you.
this. So these are skills, like life skills that I think everybody should have.
Yeah.
So yes, helping the underprivileged, because when it comes to privileged people, then it's more about if they want to do it, and then it's their different journey.
Right.
They have the opportunity. It's their journey of how they get from where they start to where they end up. But for the underprivileged, I think a little bit of help might help them.
Move forward
and have a better chance at opportunities, because after opportunity, it's all them. It's their character. It's everything that who they are made of.
Who they're made of.
Right. But providing the opportunity is what.
Yeah. No, I completely agree, and I think after a certain level or a certain age, I think everyone should be inclined towards community service, right? It's a big part of lives. I used to do Boys and Girls Club when I was a few years before COVID, actually, and I think it's important for not just every organization to do it. I think individually, we all say charity starts at home, but it's individually. It's good to go ahead and have some amount of community service during your normal daily lives, and I think it's rewarding. I think it's rewarding. I think it helps the people that need the help, and I think it will help bring everyone a little more forward, and which is what we all need in the world right now. Coming back to your Ikigai, right? So I get, so that is your Ikigai, and you said to be on the top. You want to be on the top, and you want to bring everyone up there with you, because like you said, it's lonely at the top, right? And I think a lot of people would agree to that, and I do too. Isn't being on top and being lonely more of a byproduct though? Because it's not that there is bad intentions, because we're all entrepreneurs. We're trying to do something, make something of ourselves, because we want to be at the top, right? And to do that, we see that it gets lonelier and lonelier on the top. But to get to that point, I think it becomes more of a byproduct, because not everyone has the same mindset. Not everyone's thinking the same way. And I think there's a little bit of eccentricity and craziness, or whatever you want to call it, a borderline narcissism or ego or whatever we want to say. It comes a little bit into the play, because when it is like that, and no matter whether you're a successful person or a businessman or a visionary or a motivator or whatever, you're saying that we want to be at a position, right, that everyone strives for, most people fail to, but we can maybe do something some way where we will actually achieve that. And we need to have that to actually get there 100%, right? So I think weeds out a lot of people. And that's why it becomes a pyramid thing, and it's lonely at the top.
So the idea behind it is, like, I know as kids we've already always heard this, like, shoot for the moon. If you don't land, you're gonna end up in the stars.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's the same idea behind it. Like, I want to take people up with me as far as I can.
Yeah.
My trajectory is in that direction.
Right.
That's the direction I would want to be in.
Yeah.
Right. Forward movement, upward movement. Constantly better than who I was yesterday, right? So that, like, I am fighting my own battles inside to go on the top of the pyramid in my life itself,
right,
before I can do that outside.
So
right. But I understand that the byproduct of if I want to get to the top of the pyramid is the way it is, but at least the people that I go up with are going to be the people that are holding down floor number 2, floor number 3, floor number 4.
100%.
Whereas they could be at floor, row number 15, and instead of that, they're on row number 2, like on the higher side.
Yeah.
I do think that so I mean, I understand there's some narcissism in there as well,
right.
But I also have this stupid savior complex and messiah complex, and I want to save the entire world. Like, that's a me problem.
Yes.
I totally understand that. Like, I want to heal people that are not even ready to heal themselves, and it's just whatever it is, right? But at the same time, like, I understand that part of it.
Yeah.
So I'm also a little self-sacrificing.
Right.
But it also depends on what the greater good is, right? Yeah. What's your Ikigai?
My Ikigai. I think I want to make the biggest impact in this world before I like leave it. And I mean, in like the purest form, I mean, I want to help the most amount of people that I can in this world. And I do tend towards being or agreeing with charities or donating to charities that are more kid focused than anything, just because I think when you're kids, when you focus more there, then they become better adults. And that's just as a simple logic. I do that, and that's why I'm tending more towards that. But and for that Ikigai to happen, and that is my purpose, to make the most, impact, the biggest impact I possibly can in this world. And like I said, that I used to do the Boys and Girls Club and all that, and here and there, once in a while, I'll donate to charities and all this kind of stuff, right? But I don't do that too much anymore. And I would be lying if I said that it's because I don't have enough time or anything like that. I'm sure we can all make time for whoever we need to make time for, right? Whatever things we are important and we need to make time for. But I think it's to a fact, because I see that when I do community service, and I'm going to chalk it up in one word, or if we do community service like that, or to help people out like that, we're dedicating, say, X amount of time from our lives to do that, right? And it's a few hours, you go and help a few people, because we're going to need a result-oriented thing, right? We were sitting here, we're talking, we want to help. And how are you going to go help? You are going to find an organization or something that will help people. You're going to go there and offer your services, or you're going to offer money. You're going to offer one of these two things to actually make it happen. And a lot of people offer service, and it's a very noble thing. No joke. It's a very noble thing. But I think that it hasn't made the impact that I thought I wanted to make, which is why I also stopped it. And it helped me find my Ikigai, I'd say, because then I'm like, if I become the best version of myself, I can do what I'm doing 10 times over, billion times over, right? And that is what like drives me, that, okay, instead of spending time or like 2 hours a week right now or 3 hours a week right now, I can go use that time to develop some skills, or to become, or to be at a place where you can increase your skill level or your talent level or your success level to a greater enough point where you can make a bigger impact than just helping someone for 2 hours. And I know you, and I know you're going to be like, what's an example for this? Or what do you really mean by that? I feel like you would ask that question. So I was particularly helping out the Boys and Girls Club, and I used to it was like teaching like maths and science and like some social studies and whatnot to like younger kids. And they were not just all orphans, but I think it was, I didn't think we asked that where you came from and whatnot, but that was the thing. We were educating the kids in this community and all this kind of stuff. And then I used to do that for a while, like 2 hours a week and whatnot. And I actually, not to say names, but someone I know, an adult at that point in my life, still there. But that person, what they did is, him and his friends were actually businessmen. And what they did is, they were actually on vacation, right? Insane story. They were actually on vacation in a South American country, and on vacation with their wives. And these are men in their 60s, I want to say, just to give you context of who they are, right? These are men in their 60s. And they were on vacation with their friends. It's like how you and I would, right? And what they did is, they saw a problem. They went to a remote village, and the village had a problem with water or something like that. And what they did is they saw the issue, right? They finished their vacation, they got back, and then one person called the other person, like, after coming back, and they're like, okay, maybe we should do something about it. These guys got together with everything they had and all their resources. They literally made a well and a water irrigation system and everything to that freaking town in South America out of the blue. Now that town has water. Entire town has water. Entire region has water, including irrigation, because of what these 5 people did, based going on a vacation and on a whim. Not just the only example. The other example was similar kind of situation where one person, where, like I was saying, that I went to like educate those kids and to teach them because, you know, whatnot. Same kind of thing. This one person, they not just donated the money, they just set up, help with the help of their resources. They helped set up some infrastructure to build a school. That school, built in Africa, is still there and helps countless kids on a daily basis, and it has been for the past decade, and it will probably keep helping. And of course, once they die or the trust dies or whatever, I'm sure people are already in place to take it over and whatnot. Now, what I'm saying is, I'm comparing in as a critical thinker and as a logical human being, I would also like to compare once in a while, like, was my impact of doing those 2 hours, how much is that impacting against what they did? You see, it's a very small impact. We're impacting 3 kids that I'm teaching, or 6 kids that I'm teaching for 2 hours a week, whereas they're going to teach an entire school for decades. And they are there because they did the best they could and reached at the best point in their life. And so that has become my Ikigai, to reach the best point in their life. And I think that translates to everything, not just me as this person or you as this person. I think anyone doing any profession or anything you have picked, if you become the best version of yourself in that, 100% you will be more impactful than you half-assing something or not really have your heart in it and do it.
So I'm going to disagree with you.
Okay, go on.
So firstly, commendable story about,
Right.
you know, helping so many people
Right.
At the same time. I think you and I should take more trips now. I feel both of us are going to enjoy it. But what I was getting to is even a small impact is an impact.
Right.
It's the butterfly effect. Right? Or the ripple effect. Right? You drop one little pebble, and you see the ripple everywhere. Right? So the kids that you're teaching for 2 hours a day will go on to talk to their friends and teach them something that you taught them. Yeah. Right? So this also is a pyramid scheme. Yeah. When it comes to learning, when it comes to education, right, I think even people just sitting and talking with each other, right, increases the knowledge of that room, right, at least by 10%. Yeah. Right? Because somebody knows something that you don't know. Yeah. And you know something that somebody else does not know. And it just naturally comes out. Yeah, because once you keep having those conversations, that you have these branches and stems that come out, and exactly. So never think, like, if you are making an impact, right, never compare your impact with somebody else's impact. Right. Right? So comparing yourself to somebody else is the worst thing you can do to yourself. Right? To yourself. Yeah. Right? But the idea is, like, yesterday you were helping these kids for 2 hours. Right. And you had X amount of impact. Right. Maybe 6 months from now, those same 2 hours need to amount to something better. Mm-hmm. So you saw a growth in your own impact. Mm-hmm. Right? And then you continue on that path. You reserve those 2 hours. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Or if you want, you cut it down to 1. Right. And that 1 hour extra that you have, you focus that on yourself. Yeah. Right? Yeah. So you're growing while you're still making an impact. Yeah. And by the time you get to the 6-month mark, you are in a better position to help in that same 1 hour. Right. And have a larger impact than you had 6 months ago. Right. By the time you turn 60, you would have made a bigger impact than they did with 1 act, at least by a millionfold. It's all about the compounding effect.
Just like
All right.
investing.
Right? I'm a Cindy. I think about numbers.
That. I
all
get
the
it.
time,
I get it. I
right?
get it.
So your 1 hour impact per day or per week makes a bigger impact in 20 years than that one activity would make in 20 years.
So yeah, I 100% get that logic, and to a counterpoint to that, right? I thought about that, like that it does trickle down effect, like good deeds trickle down and whatnot. But in my experience, what I saw is when that was happening, and I didn't just do it for one organization, I did it for a few of them. I saw that there was always people doing that. I wasn't the only one doing that. I saw 5, 6 people doing that in the first place. I saw about 10, 12 people doing that. And this is also, some people had even taken time. And I mean, I wasn't as generous. And of course, I didn't do the holidays or any of those days. But some people were very dedicated, and they went and did those holiday days and all of that stuff. And I see that. So I saw multiple people try to do the same thing. But I only saw these 2 people try to do this. So I'm like, maybe the world needs more of these 2 than these 12 people. Because I just mean like dedicating resources where they're needed. So I'm like, there's already people who are trying to do this. And to expand this, I feel like we should go the other route. And that was basically my thinking. But I do agree 100% with your logic that if I can and should, and if anyone can and should, that, they should do that. So
here's my question.
Mm-hmm.
Let's say you get to that stage at 50, right? Maybe in the next 20 years, you are at that stage where you can make wealth now.
Right.
Okay. And in your life from 50 to 70, in those 20 years, you make 20 wells, right? 1 well a year in one country, in one village, right? Okay. So you make 20, right? So you have this X amount of impact on the world now, right? Would you be happy with that?
I think that's an arbitrary question.
Do you think that's a big enough impact for you at 70 years old when you're dying of natural causes, right? And you are on your deathbed and you have your life that flashes in front of you. Do you think you will die with a smile on your face? How many wells is it going to take?
Man, that's a question. I don't know.
How big is big enough?
And and that's the thing. I don't think I would be, because I will never think it's big enough.
Okay, so would you be happier? In a case where you build 20 wells? Or would you be happier in a case where you provided some kind of community service for 20 years and built 20 wells?
Both, of course.
The one that has both, right?
Yeah.
So by the time you prepare yourself to build wells,
right?
I'm saying the meantime, you can still
don't give up on the other thing.
Don't give up on the other thing. There are going to be millions of people doing this.
Yeah.
What you want to do is you want to make a bigger impact, but there are so many people making a smaller impact, and you have to start there. You have to start with the smaller impact. You cannot go to the top floor without going through the ground floor.
I agree.
Right? That's where the elevator is.
Yeah.
Or that's where the staircase is. In every single step, you have to start from the bottom.
Yeah.
Right? Drake said it started from the bottom, now we're here.
Yeah.
Right? you have to start from the bottom. And so you were on the right track.
Yeah.
What I'm also saying is that
don't give up on the other one.
Yeah, but also at the same time, that will also motivate you and build that hunger inside you. Like, hey, maybe this is not enough.
Yeah.
Maybe I need to do more. And you will also start self-improving yourself in the process of trying to do better.
Right.
So you are doing better for people while thinking about doing better for yourself, which will then help them, which will then motivate you even further. So it's a symbiotic relationship.
I got you.
And that's how I have found. Now, this is just my personal experience.
No, but I mean, I'm willing to give it a try. So I'm going to try this out for the next year.
Right. Because I do want to start my own charitable trust.
Yeah.
Of course, I'm going to call it Red Voice.
Okay.
But till I get to a point where I have enough resources to start, the education vertical of it and the other verticals of it that I'm thinking about, I still do something in the meantime. because I don't want to lose that opportunity of the time, the most valuable resource that we have
is time.
And I don't want to waste that, because when my life flashes in front of me and I feel that could I have done better, I do not want it to be like, I want to die thinking I did the best I could.
Yeah.
Rather than
yeah,
maybe I could have done a little more.
Yeah, but see, that's a mindset thing.
I think because I would feel like, hey, the time when I was not able to, I did whatever I was able to.
Huh. Yeah.
Right? So then I am more satisfied at the end, like, hey, you know, even when I could not build wells,
yeah,
I was still taking our classes. So I was still making an impact. So my impact without those years would have been less than with those years. So I did the best I can, and now I can shut my eye in peace.
Okay.
Because, you know, I made it. Something to, you know,
I'll tweak my Ikigai a little bit if I can. Well, that's good to know.
So you're gonna tweak your Ikigai because of this guy?
Why not? We should accept change wherever.
I know. The change is the only constant.
That is true. That is true.
Right. On that note, I think it got very heavy. Do you wanna land this plane, Mr. Aerospace Engineer?
We can.
Do you wanna do a soft landing?
So that reminds me of a little meme that I show. One of the guys, he said that, and they were like, it's not a good landing when everyone lands safely. It's a good landing when the plane can fly again.
Ooh, nice. Because Sully landed the plane too.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. Well, it was lovely having you, and
thank
you for joining me in this lounge to have a conversation. And,
no problem. I think this was a very intense conversation. I loved it, and I think it was a very widespread conversation.
Nice. So hopefully we'll see you again.
Thank you.
All right. Thanks, man.
Take care, man.
You too.